Well, my friend Seth, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Doing great.
Good, good. So, what have you been doing lately?
Oh, I've been working and enjoying the nice fall weather here in the mountains. It's
Yeah.
turned off into the 40s at night and
Mm-hmm.
60s during the day, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just really nice right now.
Yeah. And the collars.
What's that?
Do you have a lot of collars like fall collars?
Not down here in town, but if you get on the parkway and go up
Yeah.
high,
Mm-hmm.
colors. It'll be here in probably another week or two down here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as far as tonight's show, what have you selected for the
Yeah,
big?
we've got a good show, I think, tonight. Lester Flatt and the Nashville Grass from 1974 in Princeton, Texas, August 13th, 1974.
Okay. Well, that sounds uh, probably a hot day.
Probably a hot day. This is a continuation of the show we played last week,
Right. So
or
this,
the last time with Ralph Stanley.
yeah. So this is one of Monroe's festivals.
Correct. Yep.
So Lester and Bill must have they made up in what 72 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, so they did quite a few of those reunions, Monroe and Lester.
That's right. And next week, what we'll do is Bill Monroe is the next act. We'll play Bill's set next week, and who knows, he might bring Lester Flatt up there.
Well, yeah, you know they used to do like "Will You Be Loving Another Man" and all the
Little Captain.
yeah, Cabin. Yeah, those are fine numbers,
That's as good as it gets for straight
Yeah.
ahead bluegrass.
And if you listen to the 1946 band, the original bluegrass band, they they're recordings of Lester and Bill singing together. That's just beautiful.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
beat it.
groundbreaking music, and it changed the world forever.
Yeah.
For the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's had a great impact on my life. This music.
Yeah, I didn't realize till earlier that tonight's the IBMA Awards show, so we may have some people tuning in the next day to watch this. But
Yeah, we got 3 viewers, I see,
okay,
not counting the what do you call it, the YouTube stream.
yeah,
Well, this day is kind of historic day. We just listened to a few minutes of the intro, and
yeah,
there's a pretty interesting news there about Bob Wills. That was
yeah.
All right, well, Seth, why don't you play a few numbers there?
Okay, let me change the computer down here where we can see, and we'll listen to a little bit of the show.
So Lester Flatt and the Nashville Grass in Princeton, Texas, 1974. So this must have been then with who played with Lester? Did you say Kenny Ingram?
Yeah, Kenny, probably
Paul Warren,
Marty Stewart. We'll find out.
Marnie. Yeah.
Yeah, and not sure who would have been the bass man. I can't remember his name. I can see him.
Good,
but I guess we'll find out shortly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're queued up. Here we go.
Yep.
Gentlemen, I was sorry, very much sorrowful, incidentally, to see in this morning's paper that your Bob Wills is in the hospital critically ill in Fort Worth. And a music that I've always loved, in addition to bluegrass, is your Western swing. And some of us were talking about it on the bus, and it made us feel real bad. And we'll be praying for him and hope that Bob Wills will maybe somehow or another get better. But I want to bring out a gentleman now that I've admired for a long time, my boss man, and I think he's one of the Bob Wills of bluegrass, as far as I'm concerned. One of the legendary people in the business. Would you make welcome once again for the night show, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Lester Flatt and all the Nashville Grass. How about it?
I ain't gonna work on the railroad, ain't gonna work on the farm. They ran me shack in the bed, rolling the sweet bed. Go ahead, sweet baby. Go ahead, sweet baby. They ran me shack in the bed, rolling the sweet Now where was you last Friday night while I was lying in jail? Walking the streets with another man, wouldn't even go my bed. Royalty baby, royalty baby. Hey, now we take you back and royalty I know your parents don't like me. They drove me away from your door. Had my life to live over, never go back anymore. Go ahead, sweet baby. Go ahead, Go ahead, baby. Go ahead, baby. They never check you, make the back and the left, baby.
Hey, Seth, let's stop here. That's
Thank you so much. Let us say it's real good to be back for another show, and we've had quite a few requests, and we're going to answer as many of them as we possibly can.
yes, we have been joined by one of the leading interpreters, analysts of Lester Flatt's harp playing. Welcome, Chris Sharp. It's been a long time, my brother.
Hey, Jan, how's it going?
Good, good. So,
Hey, Chris.
Hey there, how you doing?
Good. How about you this evening?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Seth and Chris are basically neighbors up there, or so they grew up. How far is it between y'all's homes?
Well, I grew up in kind of in the Craggy area and in the Woodfin area, so over,
Yeah.
I guess you could say West Buncombe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was from Jupiter, so just north of there.
Oh, I played a ramp festival in Jupiter, North Carolina, I believe.
When I first married Sache, we lived behind Red Oak School.
Oh yeah, that's nice area out through there. That's over in Ronnie Smith country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
My parents live next door to Ronnie Smith.
Okay.
Well, Ronnie, yeah, so Ronnie has been a friend of mine forever. So we're listening to the show from 1974, Lester Flatt and the Nashville Brass. I think there is. Do you hear any noise? Is it on my end? I hear some kind of.
Yeah, I'm picking up some white noise on my end. Right?
Okay.
Well, I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Was it here before I showed up?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I can't remember just exactly when you came in, Chris.
I've been here about 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Let's see here.
Maybe if you mute your end there on the.
Okay, that's got my speakers muted.
Okay.
I still hear the white noise, but it's let me mute my microphone.
I think that might have got it, but we can't hear Chris now.
Tell you, let's look at this and let's play some music for the people, and then we can maybe address this problem.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and play. I know this is a very slick production, so. But.
Very well rehearsed, aren't we? Here we go.
Ken, please don't feel bad if we don't get to yours, because we promised a lot of songs and tunes. Here's Kenny Ingram now with the old five to answer several requests with a number that's been real good to us down through the years. It wound up being the theme song of the Bonnie and Clyde movie that went so great across the country. Here's Kenny to do it for you, and it's called The Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Calling me back in my home. Oh, I can hear the birds calling me back in my home. Was a girl I loved so dearly, lived away back in the hills. When the birds sing, I miss my daughter. Well, I know she always does. The birds sing in a blue red calling me back in my home. Oh, I can hear the birds calling me back in my home. Reach my home, out of doors so lonely. One I love is going away. So sad news came from her mother. She's resting down beneath the planet
As a bluebird singing in a blue-ridge mountain, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear the birds calling me back to my home. The birds singing in a blue-ridge mountain, calling me back to my home. Oh, I can hear the birds calling me back to my home. You all smile tonight, baby.
Thank you very much. We're going to call on Charlie Nixon down on the end down there to do a number for you on the old hound dog. I don't believe the title of it, but he says I'm going to be all smiles tonight, Charlie.
I thought I had seen pretty girls in my time. That was before I met you. I never saw one that I wanted for me. That was before I met you. I thought I was sweet, the world by the bill. I thought I could never be blue. I thought I'd been kissed and I thought I'd been loved. But that was before I met you. I wanted to ramble and always be free. That was before I met you. I said that no one could ever hold me. That was before I met you. I thought I was swinging the world by the day. I thought I could never be blue. I thought I'd been kissed and I thought I'd been blue. But that was before I met you. They tell me I must reap just what I have sown. Darling, I hope it's not true. For once I made plans about living alone. That was before I met you. I thought I was swinging the world by the day. I thought I could never be blue. I thought I'd been kissed and I thought I'd been dead. But that was before I met you.
Okay, there. I thought I had seen Pretty Girls before. Uh, Seth, are you there? I was gonna uh, suggest that
Yeah.
we talk. Yeah, talk about with Chris.
I'm still here. Is my microphone doing better than it had been?
Sounds great, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fantastic.
You've been recording. You've been recording a lot lately.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too much recording. I play a lot of guitar, about probably at least an hour or 2 hours a day.
Yeah. For the first 3 months, during this pandemic, I played maniacally, hours and hours every day on the guitar, and then I just kind of lost interest. And now I've gone 3 months and played very little. I mean, I lost most of my calluses, So.
Yeah, I kind of stayed right where I was, and
Yeah.
I was practicing constantly. And the pandemic obviously has affected me, but not really as much as I would have imagined. I mean, my daily life is the only place I ever went anyway was your house.
We have to gather here in the driveway and pick a little bit.
And yeah, I mean, I work from home, and the main thing it's done is, before there would be huge stretches of every day where nobody would be here except me, and that's obviously not the case anymore. That's the only change, though.
Yeah. Well, Seth, you had questions for Chris, I believe.
Yeah. I think we wanted to get into Lester Flatt's playing on the guitar, and definitely always thought his rhythm and playing was just great. Chris, would you say that's your biggest influence, or how big of a part did Lester play on your playing?
Definitely at this point, if my playing were to be reduced down to simplified elements, then probably the biggest element would be from him.
For sure. And you pretty much play the way Lester did with what is it, one thumb pick and one finger pick? Is that how Lester did it?
He did with one finger pick and one thumb pick. I actually use two finger picks.
Okay.
But rarely when I'm playing rhythm do I use the second pick for rhythm. It's just there in case I want to do any kind of roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
he used a Stevens pick, which I've got one somewhere, but banjo players use these picks that are like national, kind of. Everybody knows what the standard banjo player finger pick looks like. I can't find the Stevens. I've got a bunch of these Stevens. Lester used a brand called Stevens. They make dobro bars and stuff. But
Okay.
this is a reproduction,
Okay.
and it's made by John Pierce. And you can see it looks different than what a banjo player would normally use.
Right.
And these are more steel guitar picks. But the reason I like them is because it sits way up here. I have no idea why Lester was using it. But for me, I found these reproductions, and I've got some of the Stevens, but I like these better, and they're new. They're John Pierce. And let's say that you're playing rhythm and the string gets caught right there.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is not right on your cuticle.
All right. Yeah.
So I like that better. That's the main thing I like about it. But yeah. So I use that, and then I use a Dunlop large. I'm not sure what Lester Flatt used for a thumb pick. But yeah, that's a very long answer to a very simple question.
What? Let me just ask this: did Lester learn that when he playing with Monroe, Charlie Monroe?
You know, I'm not equipped to answer that question, but my guess is that he learned quite a bit from Charlie Monroe because the styles are very similar.
They are, yeah.
But that's not to say that, I mean, he played mandolin for Charlie Monroe.
Right.
So there was a lot of cross learning going on, I'm sure, between all these people. So it's really hard to pin down who learned what from who.
Right, yeah.
Clyde Moody was obviously a huge influence on Lester Flatt as well.
Right, yeah.
For sure. One thing I'll say about Lester, and you may or may not agree with this, Chris, but I swear every time I heard him play a G-run, I don't think I've ever heard him miss one. If he did, it was pretty rare occasion, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my experience with his G-runs, depending on how well you define the grid, I think he's about as close as you can get. I mean, if you count how many out of 10 the man hits, he's almost always 9 or 10 out of 10 that he's just dead on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on how you define the grid. I mean, if you set it up completely metronomically, then he's actually late almost every single time, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But I mean, we're talking like microscopic. I've looked at this stuff really close in milliseconds and stuff like that.
Molecular level.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is not really applicable for general listening. Generally speaking, I don't know anybody. Tony Rice obviously hits his G-runs dead in time almost all the time too. But Lester was playing with that kind of precision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he did hit his G-runs, whatever the timing was, it just, to me, fell right in with the rest of the band, really.
Yeah. So let's listen to a couple of more numbers here.
All right. Let me get her back queued up again.
I'm glad you could join us, Chris. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Although your camera's off at this point.
Yeah, and who would want to sit there and stare at my unshaven face?
Do you see the brick wall I put up?
Yeah. Well, is this what is it? You're in your studio now.
Yeah, I've got a green screen behind me, and this thing allows for a little bit of background manipulation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we got Dan Anderson on here. He saw the Nashville Grass play at the Pier in Raleigh in the early 70s. Little Marty Stewart, Big Kenny Ingram were great, backing the ultra smooth, relaxed Lester. So the Pier was a venue here in Raleigh, and it was is before my time, of course, but I hear a lot of let's call them just senior people like that remember going there.
So are we streaming on Facebook? Is that what's going on right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, so please go ahead and play a couple of more numbers there, Seth, please.
Yep. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to ask Marty Stewart to take the guitar and pick a little request number here tonight. This is one that our buddy Doc Watson features an awful lot. And Marty does a great job with this one, too. One entitled, I Don't Love Nobody. Marty? Fine, Marty. Thank you. All right, we'll do Martha White for you in just a minute, okay? Right now, we're going to ask Curtis Seckler to do a little request. This one's entitled Moonlight on the Campus.
One day moonlight on my table, one day moonlight on the pine tree bed. One day moonlight on my table, one day moonlight on the pine tree bed. All the world of the Lord, and their lonesome song. There's a girl up in the mountains waiting for me. With head belong. On my blue big mountain home, heading up my festival to go. One day on my head,
All right, Curtis, thank you very much. Here's a little tune that we had a lot of requests for, one that we recorded quite a little while ago, and in fact, we've been kicking around for quite some time, but this new movie came out a year or so ago, and titled Deliverance, and they featured this tune all the way through the movie, and kind of like that, it was #1 all across the country, and it's been called a lot of things like Malkin Banjo, and I believe they called it dueling banjo, but the real title of it is Fusion Banjo. Here's it.
All right. Is that tape run out?
No, it's not run out yet. I just figured we'd take a break because we're almost to the end of the set. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's from the era of dueling banjos, I guess.
yeah,
Interesting that he usurped the title there.
I'm sorry. He called it fusion banjos.
Well, not only did he call it that, he claimed that is the accurate name for the song.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Josh was wearing it out.
So this is actually Charlie Nixon, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Really? Well, whoever was playing the dobro,
strong.
They're getting it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Charlie Nixon.
A real blues man.
I like that kind of playing.
Yeah. What do you know anything about Charlie Nixon? Like, did you ever run into him when you were in Nashville? Or
No, no, and he just fooled me into thinking he was Josh. So I don't know near enough about him.
yeah, yeah. I saw him play. I saw the Nashville Grass. It must have been in '81. But Curly had sort of taken over the band, and Willie Spears was playing guitar. You remember that lineup, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Willie Spears, he and Curly sang good together. He sounded like Lester. So,
Yeah, one story I've got about Charlie Nixon. Tom McKinney used to tell me this, and evidently at one time Lester was coming to play in this part of North Carolina, I believe over at Western Carolina University or somewhere over here, and he was in between banjo players, I guess, during the transition period of Blake Williams, and needed a banjo player for that show over here in Asheville, and or near Asheville, and he commissioned Charlie Nixon to call Tom McKinney because he knew Tom lived near Asheville and was a good banjo player. Evidently, Charlie called Tom's number, but he dialed one number wrong, and he tried him all day long and never called him. And
oh man!
so Tom missed out on that job.
What a drag!
So,
I can't remember who they ended up getting.
You remember Tom McKinney, Chris? I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I knew Tom.
Yeah.
So it looks like Flatt was right. Although I think there was some controversy. I think there might even have been a lawsuit over that song at some point. I think didn't Arthur Smith sue the
Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Yeah.
So there we go. Looks like Flatt had it right. That is the right title.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't the original Arthur Smith and Don Reno?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was Don Reno was involved as well.
I wonder if that lawsuit was anywhere near this time period.
I bet it probably was.
Yeah, so that movie is from around 72, 73. So it's the first bluegrass album I ever bought. The soundtrack album from Dueling Banjos.
Well, I'm learning a whole bunch of things on this show.
Well, so Marty Stewart he is, of course, but even as a very young person, he sure could pick the fire out of those instruments. It's a little bit of a stylistic conflict, maybe, but it's the youthfulness, Can't hold a young musician back sometimes.
Yeah, that had to be a pretty interesting time for Marty, just being so young and going to all these bluegrass festivals with these guys. I'm sure he had so many stories after that experience.
Yeah. So anyway, why don't you play a little more?
Okay.
How many songs do you figure is left?
We got 3 songs left. If you want to finish those up, and then
yeah, we can do a little talking.
All right. Yeah, let me get that queued up.
Oh wow! Here's some interesting. Don Wright just says Don Reno and Arthur Smith won the lawsuit by playing it in court to the judge, who had to agree they wrote it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Richie Brown told me about this court case actually earlier today. He was friends with Eric Weisberg, and a student of Steve Mandel. Steve was the guitar player on that recording session where they just cut dueling banjos, guitar and guitar and banjo. So I had hoped that maybe Richie would come on, but yeah. All right.
Well, here we go, Jan.
Yeah. Please tell me to be quiet now.
Thank you very much. Goodness gracious, it's good, you know. Here's a little truck driving song that we've had a lot of requests for, and we'll do it especially for all the truck drivers. If you listen to the words, it might tell you to not put in your application for something you never have done, like I did. A little thing called Back into Birmingham. Read an ad in Chicago Sunday paper. Airport semi-drivers needed back. I walked in and said I'd like to see the foreman. I told him all the experience that I'd had. Said, son, you're just the man I need. He handed me the key and shook my hand and pointed to the truck and said, I'll see you. Take that load of steel to Birmingham. Well, I finally got inside and got it started. Put it in the gear and started back in. Tried every way to get it going forward, but I ain't never drove a big old truck. But it wasn't easy backing through the traffic, and I'll bet I'm the first truck driving man that ever left Chicago in a semi and backed it all the way to Birmingham. Well, the police pulled me over down in Nashville. What do you think you're doing? I just smiled. I said I just got tired of going forward. I thought I'd drive it backwards for a while. I backed it in the truck stop and said, tell it, you can check the oil, it probably needs a can. And he said, tell me which way are you backing? I said, I'm backing south of Birmingham. Oh, there must be a button on here somewhere that I can push to turn this rig around. I can make it fine out in the country, but I have trouble getting through the town. But if I keep it up, I'll finally make it, and I'll bet I'm the first truck driving man that ever left Chicago in a semi and backed it all the way to Birmingham, and backed it all the way to Birmingham. Thank you very much. Rushing right along here now. Here's Paul Warren to do a request number. He does about 15 minutes work here in a couple of minutes, called Listen to the Mockingbird. Oh, that's fine, Paul. Thank you. Thank you very much. We promised a lot of our little buddies that wasn't here with us this evening, and of course some of them that was. We do just a little bit of this number right here for them. If you ever watched the Beverly Hillbillies, I'm sure you'll recognize a little sound goes like this. Come listen to my story about a man named Jed. Poor man there barely kept his family fed. Then one day he was shooting at some fruit. Up through the ground come a bubble and a drew. All that is black gold. Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, Jed never there. Ken folks said, Jed, move away from there. Said California is a place you ought to be, so they loaded up truck and they moved to Beverly. He already swimming pool, movie star. Marty, I tell you, if you join in here and help me out, you take my part, especially for all of our little buddies. I'll see if I can get over here and get some kind of an angle here and do just a step or two of Granny's part. That sound all right?
Dance, old man.
Lester Flatt and all the Nashville grass. Thank you folks so much. We're going to move right along here. I have an announcement that one of those necessary things we have to announce, and that
Well, I guess there was no encore there.
Yeah, that was it. I
Yeah.
do believe.
Indeed. Well, I had limited time tonight. I have to do something else, so. But Chris, it's great to see you. We have to get together real soon. And how's the family?
Oh, everybody's doing well.
Good.
Thanks for asking. They're
Yeah.
my wife ventured out and got a haircut today, so
Oh, well, send my best, please.
I sure will. So I see. Is his name Don?
Don Wright?
No.
DJ Abrali?
Yeah.
This is Dan Anderson.
Dan. Okay. So he wrote that basically it's a shame Lester wasn't singing on there. Josh told me, I don't know, back in the 90s, not only is Lester not singing on there, he's not playing the guitar on the cut that's on the television as well either.
Really?
Lester's just not on it at all.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Josh played guitar.
Wow.
Wow. I'd say the same. Wow.
Well,
Why was that?
according to Josh, Lester wasn't too happy about it either.
No.
So he was unhappy enough to not play the guitar either.
Yeah.
Of course, I wasn't there, but that's what Josh told me.
Chris, I have to have you back for some storytelling. I mean, you play with so many different people, and it'd be very interesting to have you on as a feature guest.
Sure. Can you hear my kids up there? This microphone's probably picking them up. They they treat the house like it's a playground. Yeah, but this is fun. I don't communicate too much, especially this way.
Yeah. Well, let's just I get so sidetracked by all these telephone notices,
Well, you're an important man, Jan, and you're so important and needed.
Yeah, people I owe money, I guess. But
you can get this app. I've got this app called Robo Killer. It's like $25 a year or something.
Mm-hmm.
And if the number isn't on my list, then they have to go through this ordeal where they have to answer questions. And
yeah, how did you get interested in bluegrass? Or
me?
No. I'm just trying to be fun.
You're making up questions for the robocall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea what it asks. But
who is Bill Monroe?
It works like a charm. I mean, it silences all these calls. So sometimes it's an annoying thing because I want a doctor to be able to call me back, and they can't get through.
Right. Okay, fellas. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast now, and we're going to do a Monroe show next week from the same festival.
Yeah, right after this set, it was the same night, so we'll play that.
And it was said earlier that Monroe would often call Lester on stage to do some numbers, So
that may be a trick next week.
Is this around that time period when I think there's a video on YouTube and there's a big deal with Carlton Haney where they got together? Is this right around that same time?
Yeah. 70s, I'm pretty mid 70s.
I believe that was in 72, maybe. So, but
yeah.
So well, I guess thanks for everybody who listened. We had a lot of fine people here tonight, and we'll see you guys shortly.
Thanks, Jan.
Okay.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Chris.
Good night.
You said have a good evening.
Yeah, y'all too.
And tune in next Thursday at 8:00. And I'm going to do some shameless self-promotion here and tell all the IBMA people to tune into our Bluegrass Legacy podcast or whatever, stream or something, for this tomorrow at 12:00, and I'm going to be there in very good company with Allison Brown and Greg Cahill. So it will be interesting. So check that out if you feel like it.
All right. Y'all have a good weekend.
Okay. Good
Okay.
night, guys.
See you.